/ not fun. No, it'll be fun nonetheless. All right, so let's do this. Let's take a look here at what it should look like. So I got my header here, I got my nav going. I'll do that. Oops. All right, so basically I've got a gigantic blue box. The header is pretty much the same, except the hamburger turns to an X instead of the burger, and the logo goes to white instead of black. But measurement-wise, it's pretty much the same. And then I've got a line here, and then I've got my my navigation here. So we got to make our blue box. We gotta put in our header and kind of swap out our stuff. Do you think I could use I could steal some of the code that I've already done for this header and repurpose it for this header?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I got to make a gigantic blue box, a header, replace a few graphics, and throw this thing in. And then I got to make it to where I click on a button and it shows and hides. Right? We kind of did that with the cat. So we're going to do that same thing again. So I know it's going to sound like a little bit of like we already done this, but it's good measure, it's good practice anyway, right?
Yes.
Let's do it. All right. So let's do that. So I'm still going to be inside my wrapper, but this is going to go kind of above everything. My nav kind of goes above everything because it's going to be on top of everything, and it's going to kind of go at the top too. Because when I stretch this out to desktop, eventually it's going to go as a top blue bar at the top of my site. This is what I want. So I need to make this blue box that everything is going to go inside, and then I'm going to show and hide that blue box, which means it show and hides everything at the same time, as opposed to trying to show and hide like 15 different things, right? So I'm going to make my blue box first. So is that, what kind of div would that be? Generic div? Or, huh? Well, what's inside of it? Navigation. So probably a nav. We're going to give this a class of drop down, kind of like we did in the cat site there. Now, can I just take this header that I've already got my burger and my logo in? Can I just kind of copy that and paste that into Dropdown and swap out some graphics? Because the measurements are the same, all that jazz, right? So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my header, copy that. I'm going to paste that into Dropdown. And I'll even make a little note to myself. So I don't get confused between this header and that header. I'll make myself a little note here. So I kind of can keep them straight. And then even though this is a class of burger, I'm still going to call it burger, but I'm just going to change my burger.ping to close.ping. Uh-oh. Do I not have close.ping in my directory? Yeah, I do. It's there. Okay. And logo, the image of the logo is black. I'm going to change that to logo white.svg, and now it'll be the white logo. So I'm keeping my classes. I'm keeping my header. I'm keeping my burger and my logo classes. Those don't change. I'm just swapping out the image of the burger.ping with close.ping. There it is. And then I'm changing logo.svg to logo white.svg. And I'm just swapping those guys out that way. So that way, none of my measurements change, nothing. So far, so good? Yes. All right. So let's make this blue box here. So this drop down, because if I look at it, I've got some white stuff on nothing here. So I'm going to make class a drop down. So I'm going to go over to my style so we can actually start seeing it. So, so how do I make, how do I talk to drop down? Dot drop down. And what's my position? Now, that's a question. Because do I want, when this thing is out, do I want it to push my entire site down? Or do I want to just kind of go over the top of my site like a layer?
Over the top.
Over the top, yeah. So what are my two choices for making it go as a layer? Fixed or absolute. All right. So what if I do absolute? It will cover everything, but if I scroll, what's going to happen? Everything will go off. Do I want that? No. So what's my better option? Fixed, because it'll go. If I do any kind of scrolling, maybe some stuff will scroll underneath, but the menu will stay there, right? Okay. So I'm going to do a position fixed on this guy instead. And I need to give it a background color, right, of that blue. So I need to snag that from Illustrator here, get that blue. So background dash color, right? And then I put a hashtag, and then I pull my hex from Illustrator. Remember, that's in Illustrator. That's this guy right here. All right. So that ends up being 120044. Take a look so far. Okay. So far, not very good. All right. What do I have my, I need to make it full width, right? So what's my width? 100%, right. Not 100, not 1005. Okay. Something is not right. Why is my background color not showing up? Drop down. What's going on? Yours is showing up?
Oh wait, no, it's just here. How'd you break it, right? Oh wait, that is.
Oh, it's behind something. That's why. Okay.
Oh, did you take your background color off of your other?
Oh yeah, because you put a white.
Oh, I put a back. Yeah, it's behind something. So we need to actually make sure. Well, we need to make sure that it pops up top. Okay. So I got my background color. All right. So let's keep on going. All right. So we know we want it 100% wide, and we know we want it as tall as whatever window or phone that I'm on. So do y'all remember that from the cat site? What the height is? This is one of those rare times that we actually do put height. Can't do auto because that's just going to be as high as whatever content. What were you saying? No, you can't. You can't just say a percentage. You can't say a pixel because some phones are taller, some phones are shorter. Viewport height. Yeah, you can't just do 100%. That doesn't work. You have to do viewport height, 100 VH. Viewport height means whatever the size of your phone, make it that tall. Which is real handy. Okay, so now we got a blue, but my old header is, oh, wait, yes, you're right. My header, you're right. My header, I had accidentally put blue in, or white in, because when I was talking to you guys. There we go, that's why. Ha-ha. All right. So your guys, if you didn't put white in your header, that's how it should look. So, how do we do that? So in drop-down, after our header, this is where our links go. Now, we've got a white line here. I think we can put that, we can't put it on our header because our header goes 100%, and that means that line goes all the way to the edge. Our line in our site does not. Yeah. So how do we start it? But forget the line for right now. How do we start how do we start our like a normal nav?
UL
The ULs
and LI.
and each button is an LI, right? So it's an unordered list with each button being an LI, right? Right, all right. So it's an unordered list, and each button is an LI. So home, about, what do I have? Oh, home, bikes, accessories, clothing. So an unordered list. So there's ordered lists and there's unordered lists. So like an unordered list usually makes like bullet points. Like if you wanted bullet points in the middle of a paragraph, you would do them also like this. If you wanted a paragraph to those bullet points to automatically like number, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or Roman numerals or things like that, you would change from instead of UL, it would be OL, ordered list. And so each LI is an item in that list. It's like this is a bullet point, this is a bullet point, this is a bullet point. But instead of using these as bullet points, we're using them as like buttons. And LIs are really cool because you can use them kind of like little itty bitty divs. They're like little squares with a word in them. So then you can like colorize the buttons, stylize buttons, things like that. They're like little blocks, basically. So, and also if you have a UL inside of a nav, Google goes, oh yeah, this is the main site now, right? Bikes. You don't have to do all of them, but if you want to, you can. I'm not going to. I'm not gonna do it. All right, so we got our black, ugly looking type because we haven't styled it yet. Yes. All right, so I'm going to colorize this so we can kind of see how this UL and LIs kind of work. So has everybody got this, where it's kind of got some black type in there? You having trouble? You got it? Okay. All right. So we're going to go to my style, and we're going to start styling this stuff. So let's start with our UL, and I'm going to give this a background color of green so we can kind of see what's going on. So that's our UL. That's the container that these guys are in. And then I'll give each of my LIs, I'll give those a background color too. So we can kind of see let's try a better color, Grayson, so we can actually see them. Bisque? Sure. Okay. I don't know. So you'll notice that the LIs are filling the UL. They were green. You could see the green first, and then now you can see the UL, the list items, right? So let's do a little bit of styling so we can kind of see the difference between the LI and the UL. So I'm going to put a little bit of margin top of one rim and margin bottom of one rim on my LIs. So that way I can kind of see the buttons themselves as opposed to the UL. I can see both at the same time, right? So each one of these bisque ones, these are like tan ones, are my individual LI buttons, and the green is the UL that everybody lives in. Right? So let's do a couple things. So we want to suck in that UL so it's not a full width of my site, right? and center it. Right? So that kind of moves all my buttons together. It gives my buttons boundaries, and it centers all my buttons. Right? So I've done that to my UL. So I'm treating my UL kind of like a div. I don't need to put a position in there, but I'm just kind of giving it the width, centering the whole shebang. That centers my buttons. Okay, well, but it centered my buttons, but my type's not centered inside my buttons. So can I go into my LIs and center my type somehow? How do you center type in a paragraph or something like that? It's text align. There you go. So that centers my text inside my buttons now. So that's helpful. And I can also put my font inside my LI too, and my color as well. So I'll steal my font from here. There's bold too. So bloop. And then color is white. That's better. And then I need to make them bigger, right? That is way too big. It's better. So I'm actually styling my type inside my buttons this time, as opposed to like creating a paragraph inside the LI or something like that. I can just style my type directly in the LI if I want to. Crank a little bit more margin bottom there. So it gives me a little bit more space. So I got buttons and then the UL in the middle of it there. I'll crank my UL anyway. I think it was a little bit narrower there actually. All right, and then I'll turn off these colors then. If I'm comfortable with the buttons, right, I can turn these colors off so I can kind of see what they really look like. That's looking pretty decent. Now, how do you, or how's everybody doing? Good? Okay. How do you suppose we could get that white line there in between like my logo and these guys? Border top. What would I put my border top on?
UL?
On the UL. Yeah. I wouldn't want them on my LIs because that would put a border in between each one of my LIs. Well, I might want that. My design might dictate that. But in this case, it's one line above everything. So I can just put in my UL, I can do a border top. And I'll do it longhand, style. So you can do like all these different styles. Dotted, dash, double, groove, solid is what we're going to do. Border top width, let's say 2px, and border color, or border top color, white. Now, if I didn't do border top and just did border style, that would put a line around the whole thing. I don't want the whole thing to have that. So you can do border top, border bottom, border left, border right. So the cool thing about that is you can have a dotted border on the top and a dashed border on the bottom and a solid one on the left and a double on the right. You can mix and it would look well. That would look ugly. Yeah, don't do that. But with great power comes great responsibility. Don't do that. And then it's a little on the close side, so I might put a little bit of margin top on my UL, eh? That kicks it down a little bit. That's too much. I'm being lazy and not measuring in my Illustrator file, but you guys would never do that.
Never.
Never. No. Right?
Really installed in my eyes.
I'm sorry?
Are you gonna like actually go out and like measure and compare?
No.
Illustrator file?
No. But if you're type screwy,
Yeah.
I'll know it, right? So, if you know, so you guys think better in Illustrator than you do in code. So, if you get your Illustrator type, your laying and your size and all that stuff right, use those measurements. You know, pull those measurements over. All right. So, what's our next step? So we got our nav out. We got our nav done. So what's our next step? We need to. What's our next step? Should this thing be out right now? Yeah, we need to click it and make it show and hide. But should it even be visible right now? No. So that is on my drop down. How do you make something go disappear? Let's try that. Disappear. No, that didn't work. Go away. No, that didn't work either. Buzz off. No? All right.
Isn't it like hidden?
No, there's visibility hidden or no. Okay. So you could either do visibility hidden or display none. There's display block and display none. Now, the difference between the two, visibility hidden means that you can't see it, but it is still physically there. So you would never be able to click on anything on our site because this thing covers up the whole thing. Display none means it truly physically goes away. What? Visible none? Or visibly hidden? Trying to think of the situation you might use that for. Let's say that you had 3 divs with that one in the middle as the one that you wanted to hide and show. But you didn't want these 2 divs to constantly do this every time you showed and hide it. You would use visibility hidden on that one. So they would stay apart from each other. But if you did display none, they would do this kind of thing. So that would be a situation where you might want to use visibility hidden instead. All right, so display none. So if I save that and hit return, it's gone, but it's there. I can still click on stuff, all that jazz. All right, but now we gotta make that button work now, right? And that's where that other file that we downloaded comes in to help us. So that was togglemenu.zip. We need to copy our JavaScript over and to make our button work. So I'm going to open up toggle menu. And really, we only have to look at index in toggle menu to really look at it and copy and paste from it. So we got a couple parts to toggle visibility. And the cool thing about this script, if you understand how to copy and paste this in, I've got like 3 or 4 variations of this same script that will do things like animate the thing down as opposed to just popping over it would like animate down. It could animate from the side, be like one of those side drawer styles. So this one with a little bit of modification can do all those things. And I can show you how to. So if you understand how to like use this script, this tool, then you can do all those other things with it too. Oh, and you can also use this for like, if some of you guys have like popovers, where like you click on a map and it shows a window or it shows something, use the same code. So it's not just for menus. Toggle visibility, it's not just for menus anymore. All right, so we got our button that we click on. And if you guys don't have to look at this, but if you do, I'm just opening it up. So I got this word menu, and when you click on it, it shows whatever div you want, right? That's what it does. So if I look at it, I've got my button, which is a link, and it's got this on click. which we've never seen before. We saw it in the cat site. We kind of played with it. On click just means, hey, when I hit my mouse button, right? Then it does, hey, when you click, I want you to run a JavaScript called toggle visibility. And I want you to affect something called menu. And then here's the button. This is the word or the hamburger menu that I would like click on. Okay, so toggle visibility is this JavaScript that we're going to copy and paste whole hog right into our site. And that's called function toggle visibility. So that's what that on-click toggle visibility means. It means go call that thing. And then it says, hey, I'm looking for something called menu. That happens to be an ID that's attached to my div.
So it would be burger for us.
I'm sorry?
It would be burger for our site.
Well, burger is where this would be. That's the button, right?
Yes.
So we're going to have a toggle visibility menu on the burger icon.
Oh, I see. Never mind. Yeah.
This is the thing. This is that blue thing that shows and hides. Yeah. So we got to put an ID of menu on our big blue div on drop down. Is basically what we're going to have to do. So so what's the difference between a class and an ID then? Maybe that's one question. Anybody know? All right.
More specific, right?
IDs are very specific, exactly. You can do all the styling just like you do a class, right? You can like change colors and sizes and all that stuff with an ID. It's exactly the same. But an ID can only be used once per page. Like, it's the only one that can be called that. Whereas a class, you notice we could reuse our classes all day long. You know, if we had one class that worked for everything, we could use that class. So the way that I kind of describe it is like in this room, I'm an ID of teacher, and you guys are classes of student. There can only be one teacher in the classroom. If there was two of me talking, you wouldn't know who to pay attention to. And that's kind of how JavaScript is. It's like, it's very specific. It's like, I want to talk to this one div and this one div only. Nobody else listen to me, type of thing. All right, so that's what we're going to do. So open up your toggle menu HTML here, and we're just going to copy and paste some stuff.
From the lines 35 to.
Yeah, so let's do this first. Let's grab our JavaScript and just copy and paste this. So from line 35 all the way to line 46 here, script to script. It's okay if you miss this line here. We're going to copy that, and notice that it lives right above your body. We're just going to put that in the exact same spot in ours. So if it's right above your body, do it there. Some JavaScript lives up in the head section. It just depends on what it is. So put it in the same spot that I got it for ease. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of my site, right before my body, hit return, paste it in, and that puts toggle visibility in my site. It's not going to work yet because I haven't put anything on the button to make it trigger, right? But you'll notice that display, when we did display none, that's what this thing does. It says, hey, if it's display block, which means it's out, then change it to none. Otherwise, if it's already out, or I'm sorry, if it's not out, change it to block. So that's what's toggling. It's toggling that display from block to none, back and forth. So that's what that kind of means. All right. So now we got to go back up here, and let's go to our white header first. Our regular header, not the blue header, but our regular header first, because we need to get it out first before we can make it go away, right? So that's our nav class of burger, and we've got our image here of our burger. And it doesn't matter if I put the link on the image or the div because they're kind of the same size, so it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to put it where it makes the most sense around my image, if that makes sense to you guys. Okay. So I'm going to do A. I am not going to, from my example, I'm not going to Or actually, in this case, I am. I'm going to actually copy this whole thing. Ahref equals pound, which means don't go anywhere when I click on you. On-click toggle visibility menu. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to copy back in my toggle menu example. I'm going to copy this first part of my link here before the word menu. I don't want that. So I'm going to copy this. And then I'm going to go to my index. Oh, sorry. Okay. So simmer down now. Simmer down. So in my example, on line 424, I've got the link that triggers the menu, right? So I'm going to grab the very first part of that. I don't need the word menu because I'm actually putting this around my graphic instead of the word. It's in that other. I'm in the index for toggle menu right now. In my example, we're copying and pasting in from back and forth. So I'm back in the example. I'm copying that line right there, the first part of it. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to move over to my bike site, and then right here in front of my hamburger menu, my burger.ping, I'm going to copy that. So it should be, I'm on line 44. Ahref pound, on-click, toggle visibility menu, and then I've got the image of my hamburger right here, and then I need to close my link after my image. Right? So I've got here in my white header, my regular header, not my drop down header, but my regular header. I've got my nav burger. I've got my link that triggers toggle visibility. Then I've got my image of my burger, and then I'm closing my link. So far, so good? Okay. So now the last part of this is I need to tell drop-down here, this is the thing that shows and hides, right? That's that big blue div that shows and hides. I need to label that with the ID because that's the one I want to affect, right? So it's already got a class of drop-down, but if I put also an ID of menu, you can put both a class and an ID on something at the same time. So it's a three-parter. My JavaScript that makes the whole thing work. Then I got to put my link that triggers the JavaScript around the button that I want to click on. And then I got to put the label, the ID, on the thing that I want to show and hide. So let's save that. And you should, there. You should be able to click it and show, but we haven't turned the X to tell it to turn off yet. So now, if that JavaScript can detect whether it's out and it does the opposite, right? It toggles on and off. Can we put that exact same link on the X in the blue div? And it will then go away? Yeah. So I'm going to go back to where my hamburger was, and I'm going to steal that Ahref toggle visibility menu. I'm going to grab that, and that's the link that's on my hamburger. I'm going to put that around my X instead up here in the blue div. And I don't need to do anything else. It'll work. Because my ID is already on the blue div, everything. So I'm back up here in my blue header, nav class of burger. I'm putting the toggle visibility around the close ping now, as opposed to the burger ping. Remember, because we had like two headers, a blue header and a white header. And so now it goes back and forth. When I click on the burger, it goes out. When I click on the X, it goes away.